Hi snooker fans, Curtis Braithwaite here for QSports.club. I'm in York for the UK Championships, so I thought I'd catch up with former Masters champion and World Championship semi-finalist, the Angles man himself, Alan McManus, for a Q&A session. Alan, how are you, mate?
Alright, I'm doing okay, thanks, mate.
Good man. Now Alan, what made you take up snooker in the beginning?
Probably two things. The first memory I have of TV snooker was Thorburn winning the World Championship in 1980. And I thought, what's that? Although I think I'd maybe seen a couple of pot blacks back in the day, which was only one frame, a half hour thing. It was edited and whatever. But Thorburn winning, and then I was in the kind of town centre one day with my mum, and I think we came out of a shoe shop or something. We looked across the road, and there was a little canopy snooker club. We thought, oh, what's going on? Let's go in and have see what. I didn't even know anything about. I'd played in the small table at home, so went in, and there was a sign up, and the club said group tuition, group coaching. I thought, oh, that's maybe worth it. And back then, I think it was only £2.
Okay.
So it was. I think it was every Sunday morning, £2, and it was a group, but one of the ex-Scottish professionals, and there was about 20 or 25 lads, and he also did a class in Glasgow on the Saturday with 25 or 30. So it shows you that back then, the booming years, that probably wouldn't happen nowadays. You get 25 guys on Saturday, 25 Sunday. So I went to that and got shown the basics, and I sort of I knew I had a little eye for it on the small table at home, but got shown the basics and played in the big table, and I think then I was only about 13. I started playing in a full size table, and sort of took to it, and was out of the maybe 20 or 25 guys in the class, I was maybe a little better at learning than the others, and went from there. Funny enough, Jamie Burnett then walked in. I had been doing it a few weeks. Jamie walked in, who a great lad, Jamie, but then he was only about 8 or 9.
Wow.
And his cue was about that taller than him. And I'll never forget it. It was the first time he ever walked in a club. I was there, so it was a good memory. And it was good days.
Yeah, I spoke to Jamie quite a lot. He's a good guy, isn't he? Great guy. Now, today, who's had the most influence in your career?
Oh, that's difficult. I had a coach when I was around 15, 16. A guy called Eddie Gill in Scotland, and he showed me some of the technique that we didn't really get in the other coaching thing, and it sort of opened my eyes to the game as far as the technical side of it, body and like striking it, and he sort of ingrained in my head what was needed, and like body shape and what the cue does and why it does it and all that kind of thing. So probably and sadly he died I think about 15 years ago, which was obviously a shame, because he had great knowledge. I don't know where he got the knowledge from, but he passed it on, and it was good, good days.
Good man. Now, Al, what are your goals for the coming season?
I don't know. I'm not really a goal sort of guy, because the way I look at it is when you play a match, you don't play to lose, you play to win. So it's that one game at a time thing. I don't say, oh, my target's to get in the top 32 or the top 60 or anything like that. I just kind of just play. I mean, I've been playing a long time. I think this is my 26th or 7th season, so no targets as such. I probably the only target I've got is actually just to work hard. If I work hard, I think I can maybe still compete at a certain level, so that's what I need to do. I know I need to work hard. If I do that, I think I'll be alright,
Yeah, we showed that last season. I mean, that tremendous run to the semi-finals last year. I mean, you beat John as well. You played some amazing stuff.
It was alright. As I say, I put in a lot of work last season, so that's what I'm hoping to keep on top of that. I've got to do that. Some players can maybe get away with it. I'm not one of them. I've got to work hard, but I enjoy it, so I'll keep doing it.
I know I've seen you practice room for quite a few hours this morning as well, pal. Great stuff. Now, what cue do you currently use?
I use a Maximus,
Okay.
Ton Maximus from Thailand. I got it in January. He kindly sent one over, and I wasn't planning on using it, but I put a tip on it, started using it, and within half an hour I thought, this thing, I like this, you know.
Yeah.
And literally played my first match with it was against Barry Hawkins in Germany,
Okay.
in Berlin, and he beat me. I think he beat me 5-3 or something, and but I was pleased with
Yeah.
with the way I felt in the match, and then I've never used anything else since. So a Maximus, really good cues.
Good man. And what tip do you use, Alan?
Elkmaster.
Elkmaster, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a to use a Scottish word, we call it footering about. You know,
Yeah.
with things changing. I'm a bit old school. You know, the Titans and talismans and Camus and
Yeah.
fancy mysterious. I just use what works.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, like they said, mate, Stephen Hendry used Elkmaster, 7 world titles. It was good enough for him, didn't he?
Aye, I'll stick with that.
Now, you've had quite a big success in your career, pal. Like I said, you've won the Masters, been a top 16 player and a top player all your career. But what's the most memorable match in your career to date?
That's tough, isn't it? Because I think I've played about, I'm guessing about 700 or 800 matches, maybe more. I've got fond memories actually. I got to a couple of finals in the Irish Masters in golfs, and I played the Nugget.
Yeah.
And he beat me, but there were two good finals. I think one was 9-8. I think I was 8-7 up in one of them. They're great memories because of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I don't really look at matches on whether I've won or lost. It doesn't really. It's the kind of occasion thing.
Yeah.
The Masters obviously was a big thing at the time, but it was such a tough match. I didn't really enjoy it so much. It was just so tough. But the occasions with Davis, because when I was growing up, I was a Davis fan.
Yeah.
And so to play him in a final was a big thing, and especially in Ireland where the fans are fantastic and whatever. Apart from that, the match to turn pro, I played Dave Harold, who we all know. I played Dave, best of 9, basically. Whoever won turn pro, the other guy didn't, and I played good and beat it. And he was probably one of the best British or world amateurs at the time, and managed to get through against him, and sort of the door opened up to turn pro, and so that I always look back in that Dave Harold game.
Yeah, tough nut to crack old Dave, wasn't he?
Yeah, big time, man.
And sorry to ask you this one, mate, it's a bit of a sore one, but what's your most painful defeat?
Again, I don't really look at it that way, but I would probably pick out losing my first time at the Crucible. It was my first season as a pro. I won my first game at the Crucible. I played Willie Thorne, and then I played Griffiths, and Terry beat me. I always thought it was 13-12. It might have been 13-11.
Yeah.
And I shed a tear in the dressing room after it. It was the only time ever. I don't really know. Well, I do know why. But the guy that was with us at the time, he came in the dressing room. He was bubbling. He was crying. So I sort of went, and I didn't think it would ever get me like that, but it did. So I guess I look back in that game, and I suppose in a weird part of my head, I actually thought there was a chance I could win it, and it was my first season as there probably wasn't any chance, but as it turned out, it was 1991. Stephen Hendry lost to Steve James, and John. I think if I'd have beaten Terry, I'd have played John Parrott in the quarters, and he went on to win it. So you never know. Probably it wouldn't have happened, but but the Griff defeat was a bad one.
No, but it's the right attitude. At the end of the day, when you come to any tournament as a professional, you always got to believe that you belong and that you can win it. So you're right.
As I say, that going into it, I didn't think anything of it. But after I beat Willie and then I played Griff, I thought I was sort of competing, and I thought, well, if I settle in and play a good game, then you never know. I'd love to go back and replay the last frame or two, but obviously you can't. But as I say, it hurt at the time, but it was a good lesson learned.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you've played all the top players and beat them all, but who would you say, in your opinion, is the toughest player on tour to beat?
Again, that's a difficult one because there's so many answers to that question, and to beat, or I don't know. I guess if you were, I would say if if any player playing at their best,
Yeah.
the hardest to beat would be Steve Davis for me.
Yeah.
I played him so many times. I played him in actually maybe 3 or 4 finals, and he beat me every time. And when he was playing at his peak, I just thought he was unbelievable. It was like, it was as if he picked up the cue ball and put it where he wanted.
Yeah.
It was that good.
Yeah, I remember.
I promise
Yeah.
the younger players wouldn't really quite understand how good he was.
Yeah.
And you just never seen a shot. I mean, I played him. In fact, my second season as a pro, the first ever final I played was out in Thailand. I played Davis. He beat me 9-3, and I played out my skin. I couldn't play any better. I played awesome.
Yeah.
I never missed a ball. I never missed a shot. My safety was perfect, and he beat me 9-3, and I was lucky to get 3. That's how good Davis was.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these youngsters don't realise that.
He was
awesome.
He was ridiculous. He was. I would say the nugget.
Yeah, absolutely, pal. Now, what would you say is your best personal achievement in snooker to date?
I mean, this will sound pretty sad or whatever, but just turning pro.
Yeah.
Just basically turning pro, because when I did, it was going back to the old days when only 10 guys a year got their ticket, and I mean, prior to getting it, I didn't think I had any chance of turning pro. I didn't even want to, in a way, because I knew I could play a little, but I didn't think I was ready to play as a pro. So to get through, as I've mentioned, the Dave Harold thing and going back all the matches, I think that was an incredible achievement for me at that time. So I would say that.
But it's funny how that you say that, because speaking to a lot of the players that like came through like your sort of era, they've all said the same thing. Because back then they said it was so hard to turn pro. Back then, it's not like a lot of these youngsters don't realise how lucky they are now with the PT. Well, say the PTCs have gone now, but do you know what I mean? Playing in PTCs, getting to play the likes of yourself, Higgins, Ronnie, they're very lucky compared to when you came through, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right saying they're lucky, but I actually think in a lot of ways they're unlucky, because they're not serving the apprenticeship as an amateur that everyone back in the day, and I know people will say, oh, harping on about the good old days or the whatever, but it's true. And it was so difficult. As I say, by the time I turned pro, I'd probably won, the same as everybody else, I'd probably won 200 pro-ams.
Yeah.
But then so did everyone, because it was pro-ams constantly. So you learned how to play the game in the pro-am circuit. And when I turned pro, I'd almost never even played against a pro before.
Yeah.
That's how crazy. Whereas now there's guys sort of rubbing shoulders with pros, and top players even at tournament, and they've never, they're not even pro, and they're playing them, but they're not really learning the game.
No,
they're just getting rolled over, and they're without going in with anything behind them, having learned the game at grassroots, and I think that's definitely a big thing. So lucky in one sense, but unlucky in another.
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton seconds what you say as well, because back he said because he come through the same time as you, Anthony,
absolutely the same thing.
And he said that the amount of amateur tournaments he played in, pro tournaments he played in, but he said also, growing up in the snooker hall environment as well.
That's
you grew up really fast, and you became so streetwise.
Right. Well, to give people an idea, in Glasgow back then we had cast and stone. We had 5 pro-ams a week, cast and stone every week of the year. Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and there was a night flyer on another night, and that was nothing to do with like Scottish amateur events. That was just pro-ams with at least 32 guys in them, 5 nights a week, and that was all you did. And you practiced all day during the day, then you played your pro-ams for money. And to be honest, as an amateur, when I was 17, 18, before turning pro, I felt like a millionaire.
Yeah.
You'd win 50 quid at that one and 70 quid at the next one, and you're living a life, right? It was a good life, because you're getting, right, where are we going now? Well, we're going over to the club on the south side. Right, taxi, bang, over you go. You've got 200 quid in your pocket.
Yeah.
You don't need, and a queue in your hand. You don't need anything else.
As a youngster, it's a great
all
life,
you did was play. That was all you did.
Yeah.
And those days are sadly gone.
Yeah.
As we know, and Anthony Hamilton, as you rightly say, I remember Ants when I was amateur. He was one of the up and coming real top English players, and I mean, the Pro-Am, you only had to look at Snooker Scene magazine or Pot Black back in the day magazine, and there was a Pro-Am section at the back, and it was pages and pages and you know, Anthony Hamilton wins 400 quid at and then he won another 300.
Yeah.
It was a different world.
Yeah, he said that. He said that. Yeah, great point. I know you Scottish lads like to stick together. So,
Aye.
Who would you say is your best friend on tour?
That is it's sort of difficult. I mean, as far as socially back home, I don't really go out with the lads back home. Now and again we will, but I've kind of got mates separate from the snooker thing.
Yeah.
But they're all my mates. You know, like young Ants is my little buddy. He's 20 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So young Ants has got John, Stevie.
Yeah.
You know, I'll catch the odd pint with them. But funny enough, more so away at tournaments.
Yeah.
If I look, I wouldn't drink at a tournament unless I lost.
Yeah.
So if I lost, I'd maybe go and have a couple of pints if one of them had lost.
Yeah.
But at home, I guess we're mates. But the funny thing as well with snooker, that's different from people I think growing up. You don't really live near each other, so you can't really go down the local, and you know he lives 10 miles away and he lives 5 miles away, so you only really see each other in the snooker hall or in the house practicing together, and then you go and do your thing and you see them at tournaments. But aye, good mates, probably all of them.
Yeah, good man. Now I know you like your food as well, Al. So tell us what your favourite food is, pal.
Oh, that's difficult. I would say probably Thai.
Okay.
Anything spicy, Thai, Indian, anything like that. You know, not so much Chinese, more the Thai stuff. Loads of I'm a chili freak.
Yeah.
Love chilies, so that would be me. Take me to Thailand.
Good man. And your favourite drink?
There's quite a few. I quite like, as far as alcohol, I'm not a beer drinker, but I like one or two.
Yeah.
I like German beer. I love a Weiss beer. One or two of them, and then maybe a Woodford Reserve. You know, the kind of bourbon.
Yeah.
I like one or two of them, and any soft drink. I love fizzy water.
Sparkling water.
We used to get that at the tables back in the good old days.
Yeah,
you get the fizzy, but now
remember.
it's a still.
They used to put one of each, didn't they?
One of each.
I
I was
remember that,
always the fizzy. So I enjoy that. Yeah.
Good man. Now you played at all the venues, but tell us your favourite venue to play at.
Oh, aye, that's a good question actually, because there's so many. I mean, I guess everyone will say the Crucible. Of course, it is what it is, and everyone likes Crucible. Probably that aside, I would maybe say the Irish Masters and Goffs.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Where I now think they do some exhibitions, some of the guys in Ireland. That was a brilliant week. The venue was good, the hotel was magic. Probably as nice a tournament as you could ever, in every way, that anyone could play in. So Goffs in Ireland.
Yeah, I went over there for an exhibition with Ronnie and Judd, I think a couple of years ago. It was an awesome atmosphere.
Good
isn't
atmosphere.
it?
I mean, it's like almost purpose built. It's a, as you know, it's a sales ring for cattle and horses or whatever, and it's just perfect. And the Irish fans are noisy and they love their snooker, so it's perfect.
Yeah, great stuff, pal. Now, Alan, you guys don't get much chance to relax away from the table because of the hectic schedule, but when you actually get a chance to put your cue down, what would you like to actually do away from the game?
I like going up north, especially the west coast of Scotland.
Okay.
And I love seafood, I love shellfish, so I go up to Oban.
Okay.
I do that quite a bit, go over to Mull and the ferry and basically just go up the Highlands and just move around, stick to the coast, and I look out good, mussels, oysters,
Good man.
all that sort of stuff. And golf, I play a bit of golf when I can in the summer. Funny enough, not many of the Scottish boys play. Stevie Maguire, he played once I think, but he hit a bad drive and he threw his driver in the pond, so he's finished.
That's not like Stevie to lose his temper
No, it's
quickly,
not
is
like
it?
Stevie. No, he does it at snooker as well. But we John, John's got a good short game.
Is he?
Aye, same as his snooker.
Yeah.
So I love a game of golf, but so that and anything in Scotland.
Big Marcus loves a game of golf, doesn't he?
Oh, Marcus, but he's a cheat. Tell him I said that. Marcus is always at it, so don't. But he's a good golfer as well, a big man.
Great stuff, pal. Now, I know you like your music as well, Al.
Mm.
So tell us your favourite music you like listening to.
Actually, I'm into a guy right now, kind of jazzy guy, Gregory Porter.
Okay.
Kind of into him. I do a lot of cooking, so I listen to him when I'm cooking. I also love Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
So I'm going for jazz to kind of rock. But my brother, he's a lead guitarist.
Wow. Okay.
In a band and stuff, and he was a rocker back when Guns came out, and sort of got that influence from him. And I've always loved Guns N' Roses, and I'm kind of 70s Americana, bred,
Okay.
the Eagles, all that sort of stuff, I enjoy, so yeah.
Good man. Now, who was your sporting hero when you were growing up?
Ooh, that's a good question. There's 2 or 3. Being a golf, Seve.
Yeah.
Seve Ballesteros was a guy I always, and Greg Norman, but probably Seve was the one that I enjoyed watching the most, I would say. He just had all shots here, there and everywhere, just fantastic to watch. And snooker, probably, as I said earlier, Steve Davis, and then when Stephen Hendry came along, he sort of just opened up a whole new world in snooker terms for Scottish guys, because up till then we'd never had anyone who was competing at the top. So yeah, a mixture between those guys.
Good man. Now, your last question. If you could run world snooker, what changes would you make and why?
Well, that's the best question a lot. I think you could be here a while answering that one, but I would have 2 tours. Okay. I would have the main tour of either 64 or 80, something along those numbers.
Yeah.
I would have a B tour with, let's say, 10 events with like PTC money.
Yeah. Okay.
With 64 guys in them, so that so if you're in the B tour and you go and play in a PTC and whatever, the winner would get, what is it, 20,000?
Yeah.
So the guys that are on the B tour are actually winning money while they're learning.
Yeah.
And becoming better, rather than going to a main tour event and drawing Sean Murphy or Neil Robertson, getting beat 4-0, sent home, and not really learning anything.
No.
I know it's simple to say, just have tournaments with money, but I think the main tour should fund in some way the secondary tour.
Yeah, I agree.
We've now got about 10 or 11 million pounds, I think, in the main tour.
Yeah.
I don't think the main tour would miss $500,000 of that.
No.
To sort of fund a B tour, and also the B tour. I mean, where you would have them, I don't know, because obviously you've got Chinese lads, and so the logistics of it would be difficult. But I would like to think you could have 3 or 4 in the UK, 3 or 4 in mainland Europe.
Yeah.
A couple in maybe Asia. I don't really know, but where guys who are in the B tour, let's take someone who finished the season on the B tour ranked 20.
Yeah.
He would have probably picked up 15 grand, 20 grand, maybe.
Yeah.
For maybe getting a couple of quarter-finals and a couple of last 16s, and maybe get a final along the line. You could earn some money while you're learning.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I would have those changes. I mean, again, logistically it'd be very difficult, and I know that, and finance is a big thing. But for me, the point is, and I've thought this for years, is guys are playing in PTCs, or were for 5 or 6 years, paying £100 to go to, let's say, Mulheim in Germany.
Yeah.
Couple £100 for a flight return. Couple £100 in the hotel, you're £500 to go and play in a tournament. Sean Murphy beats you 4-0 home.
Yeah.
Are they learning anything?
No, absolutely
not in my sort of estimation. They're not. So they should be beating each other up on that level.
That's right.
The cream of the B tour would be the top 10 or 15 or however many get promotion into the main tour. And when you get on the main tour, there's only 64 or 80 guys. and there, in my opinion, should be a guarantee of 30,000-40,000 quid.
Yeah.
But and people maybe say, oh, you shouldn't be guaranteed money for. But if you're in the top 64 or 80 in your sport or your game, it's something. And let's not forget, someone's not just putting you there.
Just about to say that as well, yeah.
A few balls have gone in like pockets to get you there.
Absolutely.
So then turning pro is a goal where people would say, right, I'm setting my stall out, I'm going to learn the game, playing the B Tour, learn the game on there, how to play against real proper players, and my ambition is to make the main tour. If I make the main tour, I can at least earn some sort of living, with a chance of earning a good bit more.
I mean, now even like the Pios was a great thing, wasn't it? When they had the Pios before, they had 8 events playing throughout the season. Yeah. Like you said, the prize money wasn't great, but at least it gave the amateurs something to play in, and at the moment they've got nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's going to affect the game big style.
The Pios for me, again, the strange thing about this game is a lot of players, in my opinion, are happy to pay 100 quid for a PTC, 200 quid for a flight, 200 quid for a hotel to go to Mulheim and sit in a players' room and rub shoulders with Neil Robertson and Ronnie O'Sullivan and whoever else. Let go of your ego and start thinking about how to learn how to play the game. Forget about going back home and telling people, I was over at the tournament and we were doing this and we were doing that. You weren't doing anything. Get back and learn the game in the proper environment. That's what players need, so that when they get to the main tour, not only would they earn some sort of living, they'd be equipped to at least compete with the Sean Murphys and the Neil Roberts that I'm talking about. So that's where I think the game's fallen down at the lower end. There's too many guys playing who are not equipped to deal with what they need to deal with out here. So that's the main changes I would make. What the answers are and how it's going to pan out going forward, who knows? But I would like to see that some sort of like you talk about Pios. Let's go back to Pios. Now I don't know how much it was to enter an event.
I think it was 100 quid as well.
Right. Okay. Quid, well, and if there was 100 quid in them,
I think it was like $5,000 to the winner. I remember when a few of my pals were on the pass before they got onto the main tour. But what they loved about it, there was 8 events and they took the top 8 after all 8 events to the main tour. But like you said, because they were playing against each other, they were getting that grooming, playing in match conditions as well. Up at Puntington, Bristol, and match, because that's where the main tour was held anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Getting to proper match conditions, beating up each other week in, week out, and like you said, it prepared them for the main tour.
Well, I know that's what Anthony McGill, that's how he turned pro, and probably a few others as well, Kyrens and a few other guys, and they're kind of proper players. So that kind of tells you.
Absolutely,
You know, that sort of tells you that. But like I was saying earlier about the funding from the main tour, if possible, then a Pios event, let's say throw 40 grand at 10 events. And the 100 quid entries.
That's right. It makes a decent pot for the winner, doesn't it?
Well, then it's actually then not a bad little tour to be on. You know, you're not going to be rubbing any shoulders, but as I said, leave your ego at the door. Because snooker, the egos don't work in snooker.
Absolutely.
You need to work damn bloody hard and that's the only thing that's going to cut it in the end, and you're not going to cut it going from the frying pan into the fire. You need to learn all the way, and hopefully that'll come to fruition in some way in the coming years, but who knows.
Great stuff. Al, it's been absolutely awesome talking to you, pal.
Good fun, big man. Aye, thanks.
And all of us at Q Sports Club want to wish you the best for this tournament and the rest of the season, pal.
Thanks, Curtis.
Cheers, Adam.
Cheers, mate.